Haskell Halt and Jai Squeech Kayaka Kintel Spachman in Kaithmel, Dickon Moochin Pinkton, he's Squeeze Tui Hashton Alxi Liu, Squeeze Tui Bill Lafferty, Fort Simpson, Northwest Territories. My English name is Bruce Manuel. I come from the Upper Nicola Indian Band. My mother is the late Goodress, also known as Laura Manuel. My father is the late Bill Lafferty from Fort Simpson in the Northwest Territories. A lot of people don't realize that the Okanagan people had waterways, and we still maintain waterways all the ways from the top of our territory to the bottom. You know, from Douglas Lake, all the lakes through there, all the lakes, and all the water is connected. So when we got on the water in 1999 and traveled from head of the lake in Kamupalukst all the ways down to Brewster, Washington, on where the Columbia and the Okanagan River meets, you know, those journeys are so important. Reconnecting kids to the land, reconnecting kids to the water, reconnecting kids to the traditional practice of traveling on our waters. It means so much more than just having a ride in a canoe. It means practicing sovereignty. It means practicing who you are and being in touch with the land. You can see the land in no other way. When you're on the water, you see where the water is, and you learn all kinds of different protocols, all kinds of different things about water and how important the Siouxl is. Water is the second oldest thing in creation. In our stories, they said that Kulanchutin was first and then water. Siouxl came right after, and by being on the water, we learn so many different things about not just the water, but all of our creation.
My name is Chief Jonathan Kruger from the Penticton Indian Band. I remember in 2000, 2001 when we first started pulling out the canoes again and being a part of that, and a little bit in 2000 and the whole journey in 2001, and bringing that pride back. I like the word strong, and it made me feel stronger. And now seeing the young people and doing these canoe journeys and these things that just grown from that, I think it builds pride, and it builds that strength inside yourselves to be better people. You know, we're healing. It's a healing process, and I think canoeing is definitely an important part of that healing. It's a part of our culture, just like the language and everything else. So I think it's great.
My given name was Herman Edward, but I was always told by my mother that I should always introduce my Skeelach name first, so it'll always be known first. And my Skeelach name is Gayusalachkin, and I was raised in the Smilkameen all my life, and I never thought one day we'd be doing canoes. You know, like in my life and growing up, I was just like any other kid, you know, wanted to learn things and wanted to do things. And so to see the youth on the water the other day was really beautiful, because to share with them why it's important to pray together. When we put tobacco in the water all at the same time, makes that prayer all one. Instead of one at a time throwing tobacco in, it individualizes ourselves. But if we put in the tobacco all at the same time, it becomes one prayer, one strength. And so that's the way we should always do that. We should always pray with one prayer, and to make it so strong, and it's better for our people. No matter what we pull for, whether we're pulling for health, whether we're pulling for any kind of sickness or any kind of healing, that's what we have to pull for. We have to do more pulling, because we're not doing enough.
Haskell Halt is Squeeze Kulila Kintil Spachman. My English name is Danny Manuel. I'm from Spachman. Well, it's just amazing to see our youth actively participating and being eager to learn, you know, like our cultural practice, our ways of knowing, I guess, you know, how we come together, and just to watch them interact, you know, like my two daughters, you know, coming here, and you know, they see their old friends, the friends that they've made over the years, and they pick up where they left off. And I think that's what it's all about, like looking towards the future, right? If we don't include our youth, and our youth aren't actively engaged, you know, a lot of this stuff may not come to pass.
So the significance for youth to be involved is getting them back on the land. It's kind of like getting their hands in the earth, getting that connection back to where they come from, and the humility involved in that. And really feeling yourself out on the water, really feeling the emotion, whether that's pride or whether that's fear or whether that's confusion or wherever that's ego, whatever it is, you're out on the land. And as I was sharing for youth, in this history that we've had as Indigenous people, as Okanagan people, there's a disconnect. And we don't pause to do those things of acknowledging the land and the value of the land and never taking it for granted, especially the water. And so their future, as a lot of leaders speak to, is that what we do, we can only have faith and hope that our youth will want to pick up and understand. So they'll be standing here being interviewed one day, and they'll say, this is why, as older adults or as elders themselves, saying this is why it's important for the youth, because they'll still have clean water, and they'll still have salmon returning, and they'll still know this is their Timhula. This is their homeland. This is their place. They all belong. You know, one of the things that you learn about Indigenous youth and Indigenous peoples is that it's their cultural identity that is at the core of who what they think about and who they are. And being an Indian hasn't been a very cool place to identify with in the last 100 years. And because of racism and systemic racism and oppression and internalized oppression and all of that social dysfunction, as some describe it, whether it be from impoverished conditions of the home or not being able to graduate or get past grade 8. When we focus our attention on how they got to that place of self-destruction, perhaps, it's really about who they're asking, like, who am I? Why is it important to be scale? Why is it important to be shuwatan? Why is it important to be Helsik? Why is it important to be all of these wonderful cultures? And part of that answer is being out on the water.
Waihaskahali Pisaxil Isqueeze Amber Cardenas Quintos in Pinkton. Hi, I'm Amber Cardenas and I'm from Penticton and I'm a member of the Okanagan Nation. Canoeing to Okanagan or Syilx people is important because it connects us to other parts of our land that we perhaps couldn't reach without a canoe. Like you could walk around, but it'd take longer. I think the importance of it now is connect ourselves with the water and the land and with each other, and the tradition was revived and now it just wants to be passed on each year.
My name is Buddy Cardenas, or Alec Cardenas, but no one calls me Alec, so it's just Buddy. I started canoeing when I was 9 years old. It was kind of like a way to get away from my house because there was nothing to do at my house. That was how I kind of got introduced to it, and I liked it and been canoeing ever since. Well, it's just like all the songs, like my sisters singing, their voices, all the laughter, all the jokes we got to say. You get to meet new people, and it's like somebody can talk about it and say it and you can be like, oh, that sounds cool, but like it's awesome. Like you got to be there in order to like really understand how something like that really feels. This morning we got up and got ready to go on the canoes. We did our opening prayer, we did our circle, and then They let us off into the water, and kind of like the reason we canoe for this event is like being one with the salmon, and we're being on the water, we're being with them.
Yesterday at the canoe journey, we started in Canoe, and Herman said the prayer, and then we all did our offerings, and I really thought that was empowering, and knowing why we were paddling and that every paddle meant something to ourselves. And then also just being on the water, canoeing and laughing and singing. It was so much fun and so beautiful.
My name is Reynold Gabriel. I come from Penticton Indian Band, and I consider myself an Aboriginal artist. The canoe journey was from Canoe all the way to Oke Falls, but originally it's meant to be from Penticton to Oke Falls, which is Simpington, and traditional name is Schochanit. But the water is pretty kind of choppy today, so they made the course cut in half so it would be a little safer for our youth today and the children that were on the traditional canoes on the dugouts. And I believe there was 6 canoes on the water today. Yeah.
So my name's Tessa Trebasket. I'm from the Lower Similkameen of the Okanagan Nation. I think it is so important that youth are involved with not only water, return of the salmon, but anything connection to nature, the outdoors, the land, our people. We're all connected. How we live is very holistic. Finding out your true path and your passions, you need to be connected to your surroundings. That's including the water and the animals. And youth have such an important role. Youth are so very passionate. We're innovative and creative.
I think it's important for youth to get back into paddling because it's a part of us, it runs through us, and it connects us closer to our ancestors and our culture, and I really find that it's really important to know who we are as people.
It's important for youth like me and younger youth to know about this because it gives them respect at such a young age. I came here when I was a kid and I had a great experience. And when kids don't come here, it feels as if they just aren't connected with nature, they're not connected with the land, and they're not connected with the water. And I don't know, it saddens me to see that some kids just don't care. You can do this and no one's judging. This is fun. You can do this and you can be somebody just by doing this.
At times that I felt that I wasn't physically capable to continue going, it was the intellectual or psychological part of me that pushed me forward, and it just brings you closer to your culture or our culture as a people, and I think it helps you develop yourself psychologically, physically, and emotionally.
Personally, myself, I believe it's important on a physical level to get yourself some exercise and get your muscles going, kind of prepare you on how the world kind of is, but also on a cultural aspect to really humble yourself in the water and realize that everything is made up of water, that you have water inside of you, and just really respecting where you come from and the land as well as the water, and the food, the salmon, to celebrate that they're coming back is a really big step to finding yourself an identity for our nation, I think.
Youth are so worldly. We're so connected through the internet and social media to other Indigenous youth across the globe. And I think that's something that is a huge strength for us. We're very good at getting messages, so education and awareness across Turtle Island.
This is an opportunity that not enough people take advantage of, that we have so much potential, and I didn't even realize the stuff that we were doing today. The level, the hope, it kind of gives me hope that we can bring back identity on who we are on a modern level, on a even spiritual level, even to let other nations know that they can do it. I feel like it's not just for our people. I feel like anybody who's alone out there, and this gives them a message that they can do it. And that's why I feel like it's important to record these things, the things that we do. So I was very, very humbled that I was asked and I was given the opportunity to be able to have this opportunity to be able to record some of the traditional things we do as a people. I was very honored.